This is a story of how I made £9,947.99 profit on my 9th month dropshipping. Let's go. And I'll also give you some very honest insight into how the brand's doing now, the kind of numbers we're pulling now, and where it's all gone wrong in the past couple months. So to start things off, I'm not going to give some kind of sob story about the really hard upbringing I had. As far as I'm concerned, my upbringing was absolutely fantastic. My parents broke up when I was young, but I've still had really good relationships with both my parents, and I never had to worry about food or anything like that. So yeah, like most of you, I had a pretty normal upbringing. My dad is a window cleaner, and my mum changed jobs frequently while she was trying to raise her 3 kids. I never had these passionate dreams about becoming a rich businessman as a kid. I wasn't running multiple side hustles when I was 14, like a lot of these other YouTubers are. In all likelihood, I'm probably very similar to you. I never really worked that hard in school, never really knew how to push myself, never had too much guidance, let's say, either growing up. I'm going to be honest, I don't really give a f***. I don't need this massive multi-billion pound empire. I don't need houses and mansions and all this kind of stuff. All I really want is to be running my own business, to make my own hours, and to make a decent amount of money, which is what I've managed to achieve over the past 3 years. So if you're anything like me, let's find out how I did it. Up to February 2019, I was studying maths at Brunel University in London, doing a placement year at Sainsbury's. Anyone from the UK definitely knows that supermarket. And I was in their data analytics section. So my job / life purpose was to work out mathematically exactly what discounts to put on a coupon to extract as much money as possible from our customers. And that's what I was doing day in, day out. Now, at the time, I didn't really know that online businesses and this kind of entrepreneurship really existed or could be feasible for the normal person. But I've always read loads and loads and loads of books, and around about at the time, which I think was perfect timing, I was reading a bunch of books about finance. I'd recently read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'd read Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week, and multiple other books like this leading up to that month in February. So these days, everyone and their mum knows about online entrepreneurship.
Yep, I could flip that for $38.
I'm sure most people have been blasted with online courses and stuff about how to run your own business online and all this kind of stuff. But back in 2019, even a couple of years ago, it really wasn't that as well known. And yeah, it really made me see my job in a new light the more I was reading about this online entrepreneurship thing, to the point where before going into the office every day, I'd get this horrible sensation in my stomach. I don't know if it was stress or anxiety, but I used to just dread every day going into the office. If any of you people listening can relate to that, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very unpleasant feeling, and it's just not a way to live your life. So it was halfway through my placement, about 6 months into it, I made the fateful decision to go on Google, and I typed in how to start an online business. And that was literally my first foray into the online business world, that one fateful Google search. And if you are younger than 23 and you're watching this video, congratulations, you're already doing better than I was. So I came across this article that listed like 10 different ways to make money online. Dropshipping was one of the options on there. And I thought, just from reading the brief description of it, it seemed easy, right? You're selling stuff that you don't even own or have. You just ship it directly from a different supplier to the customer. Easy, right? Well, turns out I was wrong, but not that wrong. So let's find out what happened. So I want to preface all this by saying, where the heck did I suddenly find the motivation to do all this stuff? Because I'd always been a really lazy person. And like most people, you want to do all these things like start an online business, but you can't really be bothered to go through the effort. And I understand that completely. So for me, and I think about this a lot, this massive surge of motivation, I think, came from, at the time, I'd really changed my diet. I'd stopped eating all processed food for about 2 or 3 weeks leading up to this. I'd quit smoking recently as well. I was just putting absolutely no in my body whatsoever. And I think if you can manage that for a few weeks, it just unlocks like a new type of energy inside you. So my number one recommendation, just to say this first before we get into the story, if you want to try and start a business or do anything crazy, I would first look at your diet, because I really think that holds a lot of people back. But anyway, let's get back to the story. I might also make a separate video if people want it about how to easily fix up your diet and avoid an addiction to sugar. If anyone's interested, I can make that too. So with this new surge of motivation, I just started consuming endless amounts of content about dropshipping. I would wake up before work at about 5 or 6 a.m, start watching YouTube videos, go to work for 8 hours, dreaming about dropshipping, come home and just watch more videos about dropshipping until I passed out, rinse and repeat maybe for a week or two. I was finally ready to open my first Shopify store using these 4 unbeatable product traits that could make any product a winning success that I'd learned about. And those were the products had to be unique, have a wow factor, solve a problem, and have proven demand. I was told from all these YouTube gurus that products with these 4 criteria should be an absolute winner. And I think this is one of the first real lessons I learned about online entrepreneurship, is that most of these gurus have no idea what the hell they're talking about. So the very first product I decided to test was a posture corrector. They were absolutely blowing up at the time, so they had proven demand. They solved a problem, which is bad posture. They were definitely unique. They kind of just blew into the market, and they kind of had a wow factor, right? So I figured, what could possibly go wrong? I made a okay-ish looking website called backsavvy.com, which I unfortunately no longer have the domain for. Built the logo, built out everything, made a nice looking one product store. And the advice I was given at the time was to run Instagram influencers to market the product, which at the time was a massive mistake, because even in 2019, Instagram influencers had been dead for quite some time. So I spent about £120 on Instagram influencers. Not only did I not make a single sale, I basically drove 0 traffic to my store. So excellent start. In fact, I did get one sale, and it was during a meeting. I felt my phone vibrate and I checked it, and I had a Shopify sale for like $22 or something. And I remember being so excited, my heart started racing. And when I got home, I found out from my mum that she told her friend about my website, and her friend had just gone and bought it out of pity. So yeah, that crushed me at the time. So Instagram influencers didn't work, but they were dead anyway. I was hearing from all the gurus. You need to get into Facebook ads. That's where the money's at. So that's what I decided to do next. And under advice from a different YouTube guru, I spent another £100 running traffic conversion ads straight to my page, which is just a guaranteed way to get 0 sales, because with a traffic conversion ad, you're asking Facebook, don't try and get me sales, just try and get as many people on my website as possible. So that was another £100 down the drain and a wasted effort. So clearly it was the posture corrector that was the problem, and not my bad marketing. So I decided to ditch that and start a general store that I could test multiple products on. And as a sideline, starting a 1 product store as a beginner is another terrible piece of advice that I heard, because basically the chances of your first product test being successful are literally 0. You have no idea what you're doing. So you just shouldn't start a 1 product store. You should start a niche store instead, so you can test multiple products easily from the same place. So the general store I decided to call Zunola.com, and I have no idea why I had such an awful name. I used an AI brand name generator to come up with it, and AI just wasn't what it is right now. So I built the store out. It had a decent enough logo. I researched another product. It was this water/stain proof top that apparently if you poured grease or gravy on it or anything, that stuff would just slip right off you. So spent ages making these video ads from random clips I found on the internet from it. Spent ages building the product page, and for some reason, I can't really remember why, maybe it was nerves, maybe it was just a feeling it wouldn't work, I never actually ran any traffic using the ads I made. So it was all a complete waste of time. I closed down the store and decided to settle on my final store. Next, I made a niche store centered around like kids' toys and baby stuff, because I had a young kid at the time. I thought it would give me a competitive edge against other dropshippers who were my age, but basically none of them had kids, because I had a kid really young. So with this niche store, I finally got into a groove. I decided I was just going to stick with this 1 store until I finally made it work, and that's literally what I did. I made an ad for this talking hamster that copies whatever you say in a funny voice. and I might put some of the old ads I made in the product description if anyone's interested. And I finally started generating some sales. I got my first ever sale for like $20 in like July or something. It was like 4 months after I'd started it took me to make my first sale, which is awful. So I actually managed to generate some decent sales with the talking hamster. I really thought I was going to be a billionaire at first because the first 1 or 2 days was profitable, but after that it slid off pretty drastically. And I remember making the tough decision after a week or two to cut it, which is really hard to do when you find your first product that's actually generating sales. After that, I went crazy just testing so many different products with video ads, ranging from GPS trackers to bouncy balls to transformer cars, Lego mugs, you name it. I was testing so many products just ferociously just to find that one winner. Eventually I stumbled across this my first year photo frame on AliExpress, and for some reason it popped out to me, but it was just a photo frame, right? Surely you can't sell a photo frame because you can't make an attractive video. All the gurus I've been listening to were telling me you need to make a good 30-second video to sell with. But on a whim, and also because I was so sick of making video ads constantly, I decided to advertise this photo frame just with an image ad that I pulled from AliExpress. And although this photo frame didn't take off, I did generate about 2K's worth of sales of it, breaking even. So it's the best I'd ever done so far, and it was all just with an image ad. And this was the catalyst I needed for my new method, which was not using video ads, which no one else was doing at the time, or I could see on YouTube at least, and just testing with image ads instead, because you can make an image ad so much faster and so much more efficiently. You can just test so many more products that way. So then I just went crazy making image ads and testing those, things from like cute onesies to bling dummies to wall decor to necklaces, anything kid or baby related that I could sell with an image ad, I was doing. And then one fateful day in early October 2019, I stumbled upon this aquarium nightlight on AliExpress, and it had like basically 0 sales. This was going against every dropshipping convention I'd learned online, where you need to use a video ad of a catchy 3 seconds, the product needs to solve a problem, and the product needs to have a proven track record. This aquarium nightlight had none of those criteria whatsoever. It just had an image that really popped and grabbed the attention. I literally downloaded the product image straight from AliExpress to use as my ads on Facebook, built a product page for it on my website. It was literally as simple as that. A child could have done it, but suddenly I was in the money. With the added incoming demand from Christmas, I was quickly able to scale that product up to $2,000 per day. And I remember not even being able to sleep at night because my Shopify ding would be going off so much overnight, and I'd be so excited. I'd be waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning and just taking walks through my university campus just because I couldn't sleep. And that's pretty much the story of how I made £9,500 profit in my 9th month dropshipping. By the end of November 2019, that was my profit for the month, and I could finally prove to my friends, my family, that this dropshipping thing worked, and it felt amazing. It was a roller coaster of a journey to get there, and it's been a roller coaster since. I've had a lot more amazing ups and devastating downs since that month too. Currently now I'm running a brand, lovyprints.com. It's a long story of how these nightlights evolved into what I'm doing now, and maybe I'll make another video about that. And that is a story of how I made £9,497.99 profit dropshipping in my 9th month. Thanks for watching.